Shown his astonishing speed, Giyu and power with some reason, to the level that he can even match Yoriichi in power. He is part of the Kamado family after all, but what if he was trained by Giyu? Would he ever unlock sun breathing? And would he go on to become the water Hashira and completely obliterate demons? We'll just have to find out. But wait! We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so unsheath your Nichiren blade and slash that button. Just how Mauricio cut up Kyoko. Now let's jump straight into the video. Tanjiro's hiking up the mountain towards his home when he suddenly smells something evil and demonic. At the same time, the scent of blood appears in the air. Tanjiro starts sprinting towards his house, and as soon as he reaches it, Tanjiro sees his whole family lying on the floor, slaughtered. He then notices that his little sister Nezuko is still breathing, and he rushes out the house to get her to a doctor immediately. But as he was running down a hill, Nezuko awakens and starts trying to eat Tanjiro. Then Tanjiro loses his balance and falls off the hill. Luckily, he and Nezuko land in some soft snow. But then, out of nowhere, Nezuko starts to ferociously attack Tanjiro. And this is the exact moment Giyu arrives and takes Nezuko. Now this is where the first real change in the storyline would happen. After Tanjiro fails to attack Giyu, and Nezuko then protects Tanjiro, instead of Giyu sending Tanjiro to Master Urodaki, Giyu would decide to make Tanjiro his Togugu. Pause. Now we will have a short time skip. During this time skip, Giyu will teach Tanjiro everything he knows. At first, Tanjiro is barely able to keep up with the intense training a Sugoku must endure. And since we see Kano at the end of the final selection not even being scratched, plus Giyu is a bit stronger than Shinobu, at the end of the time skip, Naruto would be quite strong Shinobi. Oops, wrong anime. Tanjiro would be a bit stronger than Kano, and Tanjiro would easily go on to pass final selection and take on some lower-ranked missions. Tanjiro would then meet up with Netsu and Inosuke to take on Mount Namaguno. And as Tanjiro in the game approached Mount Namaguno, of course, Netsu would decide to stay back. What a crybaby, when he sees a demon slayer being dragged back into the forest. Then the same events of the original story would transpire. As they continued walking, Tanjiro would meet Rui face to face. Now, would Tanjiro be able to defeat Rui? Yes, and this time he would behead the demon faster than he would before, using water breathing 11th form. This also means Tanjiro would not unlock Hinokami Kagura, since he was not yet pushed to his limits. Now we move on to the Mugen Train arc. Tanjiro, Netsu, and Inosuke would all board the Mugen Train, and Enmu would immediately put our gang of heroes into a dream. But luckily, Tanjiro was able to break out the dream world by actually, I'll spare you the details. You do not want to know what he did. Once Tanjiro and the others wake up, they scatter to try and save everyone on board the train. Inosuke and Tanjiro engage with Enmu, who was turned into a giant meat train, but Tanjiro was still able to take Enmu by using 2 forms of water breathing simultaneously, just sustaining more damage in the process. Rengoku, Tsunetsu, and Nezuko are all able to save the passengers in the train, but suddenly, when everything seemed to be going perfectly, Akaza arrived. Rengoku quickly scooped the face of Akaza, and the battle began. Akaza was surprised at Rengoku's strength and praised him. Akaza would pause the battle to ask if Rengoku wanted to become a demon and be able to fight him once more, but Rengoku declined his offer. Akaza would be quite disappointed, and just like in the original show, Akaza would kill Rengoku. Tanjiro would be enraged, and unlike the original series, Tanjiro is going to begin to harbor a hatred so powerful, Muzan himself may not even be able to stop it. As we move on to the entertainment district, a couple things would change about Tanjiro. Number 1, Tanjiro is a bit more ruthless when he faces demons. This Tanjiro will have no mercy when it comes to killing demons, except Nezuko, of course. But he would still kill them respectfully and honestly, and have a bit of sadness in his heart when he kills them. Tanjiro's whole person would change. He would become quieter and would speak not as much as you're used to. This Tanjiro would be a bit more like Mushiro and Giyu combined. Unpause. Now after moving into the entertainment district, Tanjiro encounters Daki, and the battle begins. Daki yells at Tanjiro how ugly he is, and that such an ugly sight must die. Tanjiro uses all of his strength, but Daki is quickly overpowering him. Elsewhere, Inosuke stumbled upon a passageway under the house that leads to a huge cave full of obi. but with the help of Tsunetsu and Tengen's wives, Inosuke is able to get the underground cave under control. In the meantime, Tanjiro has just awakened Hinokami Kagura for the first time and temporarily gained the advantage on Daki, surprising her. But Daki quickly back on track. Tanjiro is weakened by Daki relentlessly attacking him. Tanjiro is on the ground, uselessly. Daki came in for the final blow, but then suddenly, out of nowhere, Nezuko jumped in front of Tanjiro and kicked Daki off the building. No! Nezuko! Tanjiro groaned. Nezuko easily pins Daki to the ground, stomping her arm off. Dang, Nezuko, talk about anger issues. But during Nezuko and Daki's fight, Nezuko gets fixated on some human blood and lunges at the humans. But then Tanjiro leaps in front of Nezuko, using his sword to cover Nezuko's mouth. Nezuko, stop! Please! The only thing that responded to Tanjiro was a deep, evil growl. Nezuko! Tanjiro looked down and saw Nezuko's hand in his flesh. Suddenly, Nezuko snapped out of whatever frenzy she was in. Tanjiro took the sword away from her mouth. Good. I'm glad you're back, sister. Nezuko looked at what she did, and she knew there's only one way to save Tanjiro from death. And that thing was Muzan's blood. And if you want a part 2, give this video with 10 likes. And so you don't miss any other what ifs, subscribe. I post what ifs every single Sunday, and I post shorts and maybe a couple other videos during the week. So I'll see you guys next time.